More than 60 years have passed since Arlen Clark suited up for Mr. Iba's basketball teams. His senior season in Stillwater was Oklahoma State's first in the Big 8 Conference, but despite the changing of conferences, the passing of time, and changes within the sport itself, the name of Arlen Clark remains prominent in the OSU record books more than 6 decades later. It is the kind of legacy that can only be left by a member of the OSU Athletics Hall of Honor. The native of Colbert, Oklahoma, Arlen Clark arrived on campus and immediately began a career that stamped him as one of Mr. Iba's best post players and one of the best players in the first century of Cowboy basketball.
Well, you know, when he came here, he was really good offensively. I think he had been an all-state player, and I think he was 6'7", so that was pretty good size for a post player in high school in those days. He was so good offensively. If you could get him the ball, he could pretty much put it in the basket. So our main focus was to get the ball to Arlen, and he had really good feet. He could use the backboard and really shoot a really soft shot.
Freshmen didn't play in the 1950s, but as a sophomore, Arlen averaged 7.7 points and 4.3 rebounds per game. It was a year that laid the groundwork for a career that saw him spend his final 2 seasons in Stillwater becoming just the second 2-time All-American in OSU history, and one of just 9 to achieve that feat thus far at Oklahoma State. In his junior season, he became one of America's best players with 17.5 points and 6.6 rebounds per game on a team that won 21 games and reached as high as number 6 in the national polls.
Mr. Iba was what you'd call a post-oriented coach. And I have fed post players for thousands of points as a player and everything else. And when you get a good post player, Mr. Iba's teams were usually really good. And so Arlen, through those 3 or 4 years there that he was eligible, gave Oklahoma State or Oklahoma A&M. My folks said they went to A&M, they didn't go to OSU. But Arlen gave him a center that was as good as any in America.
As a senior, Arlen averaged 20.4 points per game during yet another All-America campaign. At the time, it was the second best scoring average in school history, and today it still ranks 7th all-time in Stillwater. His 15.3 points per game average for a career is among OSU's all-time top 20, despite the quickened pace of play and the introduction of the shot clock.
When you're a center and everybody on the team is throwing you the ball, and you got a post-oriented coach, and our rule is, and this is Mr. Iba's first rule, anytime you catch it in the paint, you put it in the hole. And Arlen was one of the best at that. He was a great shooter, and then obviously as a free throw shooter, one of the leading ones in America.
Oh yes, the free throw shooting. In 1959, Arlen Clark went 24 for 24 at the free throw line in a game against Colorado. It remains the best free throw shooting game in NCAA and of course OSU history. But he wasn't a flash in the pan at the charity stripe. He was 19 of 20 at the line in a game against OU and 14 of 15 against Iowa State. As a sophomore, over one stretch of games, he hit 30 in a row to set a school record. He reset that record as a senior when he made 40 straight free throws. For his career, he hit 85% of his free throws to set a school record.
Needless to say, Arlen had a very good soft touch, and I'm sure he hit over 80% of his free throws, maybe even 90%, because when he got a free shot, we just put the point on the board because we were pretty confident he was going to make it, and he was an inspiration to all of us because, you know, sometimes the games were won or lost at the free throw line.
The fact is, Arlen Clark could score from virtually anywhere on the court. He was the hub of Oklahoma State's offense while leading the Cowboys into the Big 8 Conference, making him one of the most significant players in school history.
If every team, I've told Arlen this, if every team of guys that ever played here had an Arlen Clark at center, boy, we've had some really good teams because he contributed that much to the team.
I'm very proud of you, and I know Mr. Iba would be very, very proud of you. He always held his players up in high esteem, and I'm sure you were one of his favorites because you never gave anybody any trouble. And you're always at practice on time and ready to work hard. So Arlen, it was a privilege to be your teammate, and I hope we get to have many, many more years celebrating OSU basketball and OSU, period.
Tonight, the celebrating continues as one of Mr. Iba's and OSU's best, Mr. Arlen Clark, joins the OSU Athletics Hall of Honor.